Hey friends, it's Ian Khan at Consensus 2025. I'm talking to industry leaders, change makers, future creators. I've got with me Andrei here with APX Lending. Andrei, what is happening in the world right now that you guys are super interested in and you're working on it?
Right on. So my name is Andrei. I'm the CEO and founder of APX Lending, and APX Lending is Canada's first and only licensed and approved crypto-backed lending platform. So we recently, in April, received the first exemptive relief from the Securities Administrators here in Canada, allowing us in a legal manner to service Canadian borrowers, both retail and institutional, that are looking to borrow using their Bitcoin or their Ethereum as collateral. So we give out loans backed by Ethereum and by Bitcoin.
And this was not happening before?
So not in a legal manner, no. So we were the first. We worked with the regulators over the last, I would say, year and a half to put together a framework of what a compliant, safe, secure, transparent crypto-backed lending business would look like, how it should operate, to make sure that investor and borrower assets and collateral are protected for sort of the duration of the loan, and based on the learnings of some of the failures of the past, we're able to put together a really robust framework, regulatory framework that we operate within, and now we're off to the races. We started in April of this year with the license.
Very nice. What is the appetite for crypto purchase? I know Canada is very iffy, and you've got to navigate treacherous waters to get somewhere. But what is the appetite now when it comes to, first of all, consumers and people and institutions to buy crypto of any kind, and number two, of regulators to say, this is interesting, maybe we should look into this? Right.
So prior to Apex, I ran one of Canada's largest licensed crypto exchanges called Coinberry. It's a company that I launched in 2017, and we got acquired in 2022. So I've been working with regulators for the better part of the last decade, building compliant, regulated crypto businesses. And so my perspective has been from a very favorable position. I'm very optimistic of the work that we've done, and I'm very optimistic of what the Canadian regulators are doing, in Canada, with businesses that are focused on risk and compliance, right? And so, in terms of, one of the main questions that people ask is, I bought Bitcoin, what can I do with it now? I'm just sitting there, is there anything to do? Well, now there's an answer. The answer is that you could actually unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin. So for example, at Apex, we give out up to 60% loan to value. So if you have $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, we'll give you up to $60,000 worth of loan against that Bitcoin. You don't have to sell it, right? You can borrow against it, so now you're not losing any potential upside. You can also potentially are avoiding paying any capital gains taxes that you would have paid if you had sold your Bitcoin. Now you don't have to do that. You can just borrow against it in a safe and secure manner with a safe and secure and regulated platform. And so we give people the opportunity to unlock the liquidity within their Bitcoin and utilize that, those funds for whatever purposes they choose to. But again, it answers that question of, well, now I have Bitcoin, what am I supposed to do with it? Well, you can actually borrow against it. You can invest against it. So that's sort of what we solve. And there's a lot of demand. There's a lot of optimism in Canada for the industry. Adoption is rising. There's massive adoption happening, and there's a lot of demand for our product, I can tell you.
When you look at the US, of course, big market, and they've gone through their periods of very low, shunning all of that, but now things are different. The administration is changing things. SEC now is involved. How do you see that changing what we do in Canada? Will it impact what we do? Because, for whatever it's worth, Canada always just follows what the US does and kind of stays very safe and far away. But now, where do you think that things are going? Unless they're moving parallel to each other now.
That's a great question. I mean, look, I think the financial system in Canada, I think, is rated top 10 in the world, right? And back when we had some of the bank implosions in the early 2000s, the Canadian banking financial system was actually quite robust and didn't have any big blowups like there were in the States. So I think the Canadian regulators and the Canadian financial institution is a little bit more conservative than our counterparts down south. Now, sometimes it has its benefits, sometimes it has its detriments. And so my concern is that with the new administration in the US, which is very favorable towards crypto and very favorable towards Bitcoin, we just heard Eric Trump talk on stage here at Consensus, very, very positive message. My concern is that if Canada and Canadians don't start acting a little bit more speedy in how we bring innovation to market and making sure the regulators are able to allow innovation to foster and grow, we might be left behind because things are moving very, very fast down south. And at the end of the day, crypto, Bitcoin, that's the future. That's the new financial model that's going to exist. The banks are going to get replaced eventually, and if not replaced, they're going to start offering the services that we bring to market. And so if we're not there moving at pace, we're going to be left behind, and we're going to lose that race entirely eventually.
Yeah, do you have a pulse also on the global picture of where crypto generally is now with respect to different regions and how they're behaving?
I mean, look, I think we have regulators around the world that are starting to understand, and in some cases are way further along than others, that Bitcoin and crypto is here to stay. This is a reality. Everybody's trying to get their hands on Bitcoin at this point in time. We have clients, so we operate in Canada and the US, but we have clients internationally that international trade starting to get settled in Bitcoin and stable coins. I mean, this is a massive movement that we are at mass adoption level now. In the curve of like technology adoption curve, we are the mass adoption curve.
Of course.
And so and that you can sense that around the world. There's new. I just heard recently there's new legislation coming out of Vietnam as it pertains to crypto exchanges. I mean, like all over the world, regulators are starting to catch up, and it's driven by local demand everywhere.
Amazing. Last question. What's your outlook on the next 3 to 5 years? Where do you want to go, and what do you think should happen?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think with our business, so our vision is to build a global leading regulated crypto-backed lending platform. So we have two verticals to the business. One is a direct-to-consumer vertical where individuals, businesses can apply for a loan, get a loan, but we also have a white label vertical that we sell into banks and financial institutions that are looking to start offering crypto-backed lending services to their end clients. And so we see, like I mentioned earlier, we see banks, credit unions start getting into this space, offering either trading or lending against crypto or custody. Like those are the three main pillars. With APX Lending, our vision is to build out that infrastructure layer that the banks can actually start using, and we've had very, very promising discussions, even with Consensus, with several banks that are looking to start offering these services and looking for technology partners that are able to help them bring this to market very quickly in a compliant, regulated manner. So that's what I think is going to end up happening. We're just going to have the banks that don't switch over and start offering and being in the crypto space they're gonna lose out. They're gonna close down. So that's the thing that's gonna end up
Some
happening.
banks are definitely struggling to make that happen. But it's really nice talking to you, Andrei. It's
awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Great insights, and you can help us understand what's happening in Canada as well as in the US. But thank you so much.
Thanks so much, man.
Really
I appreciate it.
it.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.